So, how am I supposed to start a business when I'm a full-time college student? I have a bunch of classes, I have exams to study for, I don't have money coming in, and then at the same time I'm supposed to, grind, hustle, and start a business and make a bunch of money. That was my situation 2 years ago, more or less. I was a full-time engineering student. I had no idea what to do to make money. I was still trying to figure things out. And one of the main obstacles that I was facing is that I just didn't have enough time. All my time was being spent studying, going to labs and stuff like that. And I couldn't understand how was I supposed to start a business and work in it full time while I was a full-time college student. Okay, so fortunately I found a solution. I made it happen. So today I'm going to break down exactly what I did. Essentially here, some nice nostalgic pictures. As mentioned, I was an engineering student, so I think here it was like a lab that we had to do, and it was like 2 a.m. or something, and I had to stay and finish the entire thing. Here we had to make some sort of mold for like a cupcake thing. That was one of my projects. Very fun. And then this is today. So full transparency, these amounts were not made while I was in college. Okay, this is once I graduated, I dropped out and focused on building the business. So as you can see, today we got paid 3.3, and then yesterday was about like 5K more or less that we got paid. So these are typically the numbers that we make every single day. But full transparency, again, this is only once I fully devoted my time to the business. At the time when I was in college, I dropped out when I was making like 10 to 15K per month. That was more so the mark, and I'll explain a bit more what I did to make that happen. So, as mentioned, the problem that you guys are facing is that you're time poor, but you're also probably money poor as well. And this becomes extremely difficult if you're trying to exit from this when you cannot change these variables in your life. Okay, so what can we do to switch our situation and leverage other people's time and other people's money to make it happen? Or maybe we don't even need time and money to build a business. So, like every probably person who ever wanted to start a business, I started doing a bunch of research on YouTube, okay? Because at first I was searching for an idea. I wasn't too sure what should I do to make a bunch of money while I was in college. So of course I heard about dropshipping. I'm not the best, I don't really know how it works. But what I quickly understood is that time is always going to be the same problem. You always have to invest time into something. Nothing's going to just make you money like that. Okay, so time is a factor that we cannot really touch for now. And then when it comes to dropshipping, when it comes to the money aspect, you have to test products. Okay, so you have to buy products, not even buy them, but just like advertise them and see if there's a hit in the market. And the way to advertise it is through Facebook ads, Instagram ads, online social media. So you need money to promote it. And the margins are very low. So you would need to put lots of money to make money back for it to be significant and actually impact your life. So for me, dropshipping, that I wasn't a huge fan of it, so I didn't even do it. Trading crypto, I did do it for a couple of months, so that was pretty cool. When I say a couple of months, I wasn't taking it too serious. I was just doing it from time to time and making $10 trades profit, and I was thinking I was the boss, So trading, of course, time is the same factor. Money, you need money to make money. Okay, so many people come to me saying, oh, I want to do crypto, I want to do trading. And I ask them, well, how much money do you have to invest? And then they'll tell me like, oh yeah, I can put $1,000 in it. So even if you do a 10% return, which is considered really good, you would only make $100 out of it. Okay, so it's nothing crazy. Okay, it's not life-changing money. And I quickly understood that I needed a bunch of money in order to make that 10% a significant amount of money. And my original plan was to make another business so I could fund my trading career. That was the initial plan of me starting another business afterwards, which I didn't do. So this brings me to the last option, which I viewed as being like a possible thing for me, which was a service-based business. Okay, again, it requires time. But when it comes to money, it doesn't necessarily require that much money. It's more so, again, my time. So if I offer to cut someone's lawn, it doesn't cost me anything. I just have to go and cut the lawn to get paid. Okay, so I don't need money upfront as long as I have the lawnmower. So I need some money, but not a huge investment like trading or crypto or dropshipping. So that's when I quickly understood. I'm like, okay, so I need to start some sort of service-based business. From there, I realized that there's two types of businesses, and I did both. So there's offline and then there's online service-based businesses. So an offline is when you do it in person, basically. So same thing, you need time, but the problem with offline is that you have to be there in person. So how can I be in class or at school because I need to study, but also go mow someone's lawn? So what I did was window cleaning. So how could I clean someone's window and be there all day and doing it while being at college? So for me, it was not a possibility. I did do it during the summer, but during college, forget about it. I cannot do it. But when it comes to money, all I had to do is buy the stick to clean the windows. It was like a couple $100, like $200, and then from there I was just making pure profit. So that was pretty cool. Now, when it comes to online businesses, same thing with the money. So I can offer an online service instead. So maybe make, let's say, a logo. Okay, I build a logo for someone. If I know how to build logos, it's not going to cost me anything to make one. If I have the software and everything good to go, I just have to spend time doing it. And then when it comes to time, at least when it's online, I can do it while I'm in class, while I'm in college. And that's what I did. So I used to do it during my breaks, as well just my classes, and I would skip some classes, to be completely honest with you guys. I would often skip my classes, but I would still study. I'd buy the book, I'd read everything, I'd pass my exams. I had very good grades of doing that. It's not something I recommend, but that's what I used to do. I used to skip lots of classes. So that's when I understood this is my best option, okay? It allows me to use my time. So while I'm in college, while I'm in class, I can work on the business. I don't need a bunch of money to start because it's a service that I'm offering, so I just need to spend time on it. And best part is I can hire someone commission-based, so I don't pay anything up front. I pay them per job. So if I use the same example, the logo example, let's say I make a logo for $100 for someone. Instead of me sitting there and doing it while I'm in class, which I can, so I would make the full 100, so that's cool, like I would make more money, but again, I have to spend time on it. I can hire someone and pay them, let's say, $40 or $50 to do it for me. So I just have to find a client. I give the design to the person that I partner up with, and I tell him, hey, I'll pay you $50 for you to do it for me. He does it, I pay him $50, and the client pays me $100. So I made $50 doing absolutely nothing. All I had to do is find the contract, so find the job, okay, which is very difficult to do, which is why that person is willing to do it for $50. So I quickly understood that, so I started piecing the things together. So what was going to be my service? So obviously I didn't do logos because that's not very scalable in my eyes. First question I asked myself, I'm like, what am I going to sell? I ended up selling something that was high ticket. All right. I did not want to do jobs that were $100, $200, because I did it with my window cleaning and I'd spend the entire day working only to make like $300, $400 for the day. So I wasn't very happy with that. So I asked myself, what are some things that I can charge a bunch of money for? And one thing I quickly, as I was doing research, was just offering growth to local businesses. So helping them grow and acquire more customers. Because obviously, if I'm able to help a business make more money, I can get paid by performance. So a logo is a logo. Okay, it's $100. Like, it's not going to change. But my fee in helping a business grow can be variable depending on how much I help them grow. So if I help a company grow by, let's say, 50 grand a month, I can charge, let's say, 10% of that, so 5K. But if I help a business grow by 10K, then I would only get paid 1K. So it's performance-based, essentially. So I like that idea because I can actually control my income by doing a very good job. So I was rewarded by working hard and getting my clients better services or better results. So I ended up doing Google Ads. So I was offering like a whole setup for Google Ads. I would teach people how to do it. I'd build a landing page, create the ads, make it pretty, and just make sure that the businesses were receiving the leads from the ads, and also setting up the entire thing, monitoring, blah, 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 the whole thing. And I was charging, depending on the business and how much money I was making them, between $1,000 to $4,000 per month. So that was pretty cool. So if I found one client, I had the possibility to make 4K every single month, which in itself, just that one client, is a pretty good amount of money for a college student. So now, next question is, okay, I have the service, I know what I'm doing, I know how much to charge, but where am I actually going to find these people who are willing to pay me 1 to 4K per month? Now, like wiser Oliver, now that I have more experience in everything, if I had some money saved up, which I did, I would have put that money into ads. So I would have ran ads for myself to acquire clients. Through Facebook, Instagram, even maybe Google. And that's how I would have signed my first couple of clients. Now, let's say I'm going to use the same narrative. So let's say we're in college, we don't have that much money saved up, or we don't want to spend that money because we need it to survive the entire year. That was my situation. Then I would do cold outreach, which is what I ended up doing. Okay. And cold outreach, very simply, is just you reach out to people. So you can either go in person to a local business and say like, hey, I can do this for you. But that's not scalable. And again, the whole concept of time. Okay, if you're out there doing it in person, then you might not have the time to actually go to college and everything, or vice versa. So what's a scalable method that we can do pretty much from home or anywhere? It was cold calling and cold DMs. That was what I was doing. So cold DMs works extremely well if you're in class, because obviously you cannot talk on the phone in class, but you can send text messages. Okay, that's doable very like between your breaks and stuff like that, or even in class. Cold calling, that's what I used to do most of the time. So luckily for me, most of my classes were in the afternoon, so I had the mornings available to cold call. So that's what I used to do. And also what you can do, if you really don't have the time, you're packed up and like you absolutely cannot devote any time to finding clients, to outreaching, that's what we call it, you can hire commission-based appointment setters. So you pay them by commission. So you can say, hey, per appointment, I pay you X amount of dollars. And typically it's like 10, 15 bucks. Okay, so it's not that expensive, especially if you're about to make at least 1K, you can spend some money. Like you're not going to start a business by spending $0. Okay, that you can take that idea out of your head right now. It will require some sort of initial investment. Of course, if you do it yourself, it's going to be cheaper. But again, if you don't have the time, there's nothing else you can do, then you don't really have any other choice but to do this option right here. Okay, which by the way is what we do for the people that we work with. So when we help people start this process and help them figure out what to sell, how to find clients and everything, we have our own commission-based setters that we pair them up with. So at least they have good people to start with. Now, I know what I'm selling. I know what I'm doing. I know how to find these people. But once I find these people and they pay me, how am I actually going to deliver the service to them? Okay, that's a whole other thing. Now, what I did, again, is I learned the basics of Google Ads. I wasn't the best. Okay, I'll be super upfront with you guys. I was not the best. I knew the basics, like enough to navigate and set up an ad campaign and more or less know if it's working well or not, but I was not the best. So what I decided to do is learn just enough to be able to, one, understand what's happening in my business, two, explain the potential clients. So here, right here, when they ask me, what do you do? I have to be able to explain it, what I'm doing. And then lastly, what I decided to do is to outsource the work to experts. So again, using that logo example, instead of me doing the logo, why not hire someone and pay them a small portion of whatever I charge my clients and then keep the difference? So that's exactly what I did. So I hired someone who was really good in Google Ads, he was an introvert. He really didn't want to talk with, like, he didn't want to do this cold outreach, cold calling, cold DMs. He's like, just give me clients. Like, I enjoy doing Google Ads. So I'm willing to take less money than what you're making so that I don't have to outreach. At least I have leads coming in because you're doing the heavy lifting for me. That was basically the dynamic that we had. And that's what I did. Okay, so I figured out what I was going to do. I would cold call whenever I could in the mornings. Granted, I did have sales experience in the past, so that helped a lot. I would cold call, book appointments, so take those calls afterwards over the Zoom. I would speak to the potential clients. I'd offer them my service. I'd say like, hey, I can help your business grow through Google Ads. I only take 10% of whatever I make for you. So if I make an additional 20K, I only take 2K. Would you pay me 2K if I made you 20? That used to be my line. So they would say yes. So good to go. And then from there, how am I going to serve their clients? I connect them with we call them media buyers. So the person that's going to do my ads for Google, and then he would take care of everything for me. All right. And that was the process. Okay. From there, it was a simple process of just doing it as much as I could until I reached the point where I was making that 10K a month. I was pretty confident in my skills. And I kept asking myself, it's crazy what I can achieve when I have this many obstacles in front of me. So I was exams, engineering, that's not an easy degree. I had to go to class, which was very far. I was like an hour away from where I lived. So at a certain point when I finished the semester, I had to take basically an internship during the summer. Okay, that was the traditional path. I decided not to do it, and I focused on the business. And I said to myself, am I willing to, so I told myself I'm gonna like sacrifice one semester, so I'm gonna skip that semester to focus on the business. And I said to myself, if I was able to make 10K while I was a full-time college student, imagine what I can achieve if I had a like fully open calendar, nothing else to worry about but to build a business. So I had money coming in, I had proof of concept, and I had time now. And I sort of evaluated the upsides, the downsides. So downside was I was going to graduate 6 months older. So if worse comes to worse, I went full time, I didn't like it, everything, I lost all my clients, I wasn't making any money anymore. I was like, okay, I'll just go back to school. Like I'm not really missing out on anything. Okay, so that was my thought process. So I wasn't like fully, okay, I'm dropping out, never going back. I was still giving myself like a opening, which made me feel safer with my decision. But at the same time, it was still a big decision for me. So either I graduate 6 months older. Okay, that's the worst case of my decision of dropping out from college for a semester. And the upside of making that decision is that I could get the life that I always dreamed of. Okay, running my own company, making like not having a ceiling on how much money I can make working for someone else. Have total freedom, can travel, can do whatever I want, and just, build something for myself. Have something that has my brand, my name on it, which for me was very important. So I evaluated the upsides, the downsides, and this is basically what it came up to. So either I'm like, for the price of me potentially having the life that I always dreamed of, the possible risk, so what I'm gambling is just graduating 6 months older, which wasn't that much of a gamble at the time. Okay, and that's what I did. All right, so again, this is a lot simpler than it seems. Like, this took me months and months to build and make it happen. But essentially, I evaluated my options. I felt like an online service-based business was the best decision for me as a full-time college student. From there, I had to just answer these 3 questions. What am I going to sell? How am I going to find these people to sell to? And then once I do sell them, how am I going to serve them? Because at the end of the day, you have to give them good results. Okay, if you give them shit results, you don't deserve to get paid. As simple as that. So I had to make sure that I was doing good things and that people were happy with what I was doing, and they would happily pay me this much money. Okay, and that's a quick story on how I basically dropped out of college and made a bunch of money with my business. All right, and again, full transparency, these numbers to do it while in college is very difficult. I don't know if it's probably possible, but for me it was not viewed as something being possible, so I had to really just fully dedicate my time on building the business. But it's definitely possible to build a business while you're at school. I wish I included screenshots now that I think about it. We have a student in our program, his name is Praveen, 16 years old, he's in high school, and his agency makes 10K a month at 16. I was 22 or 21 in this picture. So he has 4 years on me, and he's in high school, and he's already doing as well as I was at this age. Okay, so it's definitely possible. It's not easy. Okay, it's definitely not easy. Okay, you're in a situation that's more difficult than most people, what they have to go through, but it's just part of the game. You can cry about it, you can complain, but at the end of the day, nothing's going to change until you change. And that's the most important part, is to not focus on the obstacles that are in front of you, but just rather, how can I make the most of the situation I have in front of me? And when you adopt a mindset like that, it becomes a lot easier for you to look at opportunities and just find the best opportunity depending on your current situation. All right, so I hope this was useful. Let's get back to making some money, working hard. As usual, if you want one-on-one coaching from my team where we hold your hand and we build this agency with you, especially if you're in college, that's most of the people that we work with are full-time college students, so they work a full 9 to 5. And you want my team to help you build everything on a performance base only, there's a link in the description to book a call with us. Otherwise, best of luck, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.